Kumbe, but all our most beloved Heavenly Parents, today, Sunday, June the 28th, 2015, here at Washington Family Church, National Cathedral, we pray for the success and the victory and the protection of our true parents, our true mother here on earth, with the rest of the true children, and all the brothers and sisters who are taking care of them. We pray as well for our true Father, who is always guiding us in Hunduke, that He will be happy on what He sees all over the world with the brothers and sisters who are working so hard. And we pray as well for our elder sister, Sanjanin, the president of the Family Federation for World Peace, and Insuknin, her husband, the vice president of the Family Federation for World Peace. We pray for all the other leaders that are based in Chungpyeong, Korea. We pray that they'll be safe from the MERS, the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome. And we pray as well for the Chang Shik-yang and his family. And we pray as well for all the continental leaders all over the world, especially our Archbishop Ki-hon Kim and his family. We pray as well for all the national leaders all over the world, especially here in America. We pray for Reverend Dr. Michael Barkle and his wife Kumiko and all the staff here at 4 West 403rd Street, and all the vice presidents too all over the world, like our own Reverend Milan Stevens. And we pray for our district leader, Reverend Ernest Patton and his wife, Keiko Patton, and children. And we pray for all the center leaders all over the world, especially here in the Mid-Atlantic area, Reverend James Stewart of Toshin Center, Reverend Akira Ota in Norfolk, Virginia, Father Adrian Bayo and his wife Ayano-san in Richmond, Virginia, and in the Beltway we pray for Reverend Robert Love of the Maryland Center and Ms. LeJune of Northern Virginia, and here in Washington, D.C. we pray for the ACLC chairman, Archbishop Augustus Collins, and our pastor, Reverend Zager Oliver, and his wife, Fumi-san and Dorviana, and the rest of all the blessed families all over the Washington, D.C. and the Beltway. We pray that they will really connect with this church and really help this church. And we pray for all the blessing candidates who were just even blessed yesterday, June the 27th, that they will continue to really serve our true parents and the world. And we pray for our blessed children too, that they too will inherit your words and your wisdom, our Heavenly Parents. And we pray all of this in all our names and in my name, Athanasius Fracis C. Catala, blessed single family. Aju, Aju, Aju. Yes, good morning. Are we now in 339?
Yeah, and number, text number 9?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
We're now on subtopic number 9, the historical day of hope. God created Adam and Eve after many difficulties. In order to create Adam and Eve, God created the universe. God endured many difficulties to create the universe because God invested so much to create Adam and Eve. I'm sure God was happy beyond words when He finished. However, there was to have been a moment when God was even more happy, and this was uh, the, this was to be the moment when His son and daughter were united. In other words, the time when Adam would have a bride. This happiness, was to be connected to all things that give birth in heaven and earth. And the center of love was to be linked to all humanity. If branches were created from there with explosive power, then the whole world would eventually have been involved. Then people would have been born resembling God. Those who are not born resembling God would try to resemble God. Were you born resembling God, or are you going to try to resemble God? Which one? You have to try to resemble God. If you have been born resembling God, then when would be your day of celebration? I don't know if God resembles you, but if you were born resembling God, which day should you celebrate? You should celebrate the day you were born. Then you should celebrate the day you get married. Then you should celebrate the day you have your sons and daughters. This was the origin of history. History developed in order to realize this, and this was the content of the providence. The fact remaining from the fall is that we lost our original parents. Through the fall, when we lost the parents, we lost the children. In addition to the children, we lost all things. And together with all things, we lost God. We must restore all this. Adam and Eve were to become God's true son and daughter, and then were to become the true parents of humankind. Adam and Eve were to dominate the whole of creation. There was supposed to be this glorious day for the whole creation also. The dominion over all things cannot be accomplished alone. The parents must have children, forming a family. All things can be dominated based on that restored four-position foundation. No one alone can dominate creation. And we're now on page 340. Jesus came to the earth to dominate all things and the world, but He could not. God wanted to give the blessing to both Adam and Eve, not just to Adam. Therefore, Adam and Eve had to become husband and wife. But husband and wife are not enough. Husband and wife are the vertical center from God. Adam and Eve were the internal and external center linking heaven and earth, centering on God. The spiritual dual characteristics appeared as substantial and dual characteristics forming an individual set of dual characteristics. These became a man and woman centering on mind and body. This was Adam and Eve. Therefore, when Adam and Eve become united, they become, for the first time, the center of the horizontal four-position foundation, forming a center base. However, although the parents are the center, they must stand in the subjective position as the center of the horizontal world, representing the clan level. To do so, they need an object. That object is their children. Then, when the four-position foundation is formed, heaven and earth are linked for the first time. In the world today, there is a Children's Day, but it is not a true Children's Day. The true Parents' Day, Children's Day, Day of all things, and God's Day were determined and announced by our Unification Church. These days were not determined at random, according to my thoughts, saying, today can be such and such day. All the holy days were determined after going through a formula in the restoration process. Without going through the formula, restoration is not possible. In the restoration process, there is always an order, and I have always restored everything according to that order. There must be parents before children can exist. Therefore, it is the principle to proclaim Parents' Day before proclaiming Children's Day. Originally, all people possess the ideal parents. Therefore, God's Day is determined. Then, Parents' Day will be determined at the same time. And then, Children's Day and the Day of all things. However, because of the fall, everything was lost. Therefore, in the process of restoration, what is the first thing which must be found? Man must be found first. You must understand that unless Parents' Day is determined, Children's Day cannot be determined. What is the one and only day which history has been searching for until now? It is true Parents' Day. More than Children's Day, history has been hoping for true Parents' Day to be proclaimed on earth. Unless this day appears, no one has the qualification on to call God Father. Even if you call God your Father, you are calling Him Father within the boundaries of His judgment. Until now, you have been calling God as Father within the boundaries of His judgment. You were not able to call God Father beyond that position. The God whom you call whom you call Father beyond judgment is the eternal Father of liberation. We're now on page 341. He is the parent of liberation. From here, a new nation, a new world, and new heaven and earth will start. Even if such a world is surrounded by the satanic world, it will continue to grow. It is made to grow. You must think that in order for you to have Children's Day, you must make a determination to go the true way, centering on the 6,000-year history. You can overcome this course if you receive the blessing from the true parents. You must go over as you are now. In order to reach the goal, you have to make indemnity conditions. Until now, or until you can have Children's Day, you have no relationship with the true parents. You have not been born yet through the marrow of the true parents. Representing the many memorial days throughout the world, Children's Day was established globally and universally before God as the day when man and woman were born again in the true position to serve the true parents. And now we are on a new topic altogether, Roman numeral 4, the providence of restoration, centering on families. And we have the first subtopic, number 1, the hope of fallen humankind. Do you want to read?
Yeah, I'll read because I got
Yes. Yes. Okay, the first subtopic is the hope of fallen humankind. And Nita will continue reading.
Page 341. Through the fall, the first human ancestors, Adam and Eve, created the fallen blood lineage. They were to become united with God in the unfallen world, the original ideal world of God's hope, and to give birth to sons and daughters with a direct lineage to God. No. I'm not finished. Okay. All right. However, they formed a relationship with Satan and became the head of Satan's lineage, giving birth to dead children. Therefore, today, all humankind has met false parents. Therefore, we must deny the blood lineage of the false parent and meet the true parents. The hope of fallen people is to meet God's Son. Fallen people are grieving about being born as Cain children and wondering, searching for God's true Son. We must find God's Son. However, if we had to search out the individual level Son of God, family level Son of God, clan level Son of God, tribal level Son of God, and national level Son of God, how much suffering would mankind go through? For this reason, God sent the Messiah representing the national level Son realm. Okay? Therefore, the day when humankind receives this Messiah, they can also search out the individual, family, clan, and tribal, as well as national level Son of God. You have a red light on your phone. You should understand that the advent of the Messiah is to convey the joyful message that now we can discover the national level Son of God. Returning to page 342. My glasses don't want to stay on. We who are born of the fallen relationships must meet the Son of God, who will enable us to transcend the condition which Satan can accuse. After meeting the Son of God, we must meet the parent. You have had fallen parents, but you have never had true parents. Therefore, you must find a true parent whom God can love. Then you must find the parent's family. After finding the parent's family, you must find God's love. If you have found God's love, then you will be able to meet God. Likewise, fallen men should search for their brothers and sisters, their fathers, their mothers, my house, and my hometown, centering on God. You should understand the fact that humankind on this earth had to walk this path. When the sons and daughters who can receive God's love become parents and form a family in which they love each other, centering on God's love, then in the environment in which everything can be accomplished through family peace, they will automatically prosper, singing the song of love. Then a God-centered tribe will also take form automatically. However, because Adam lost that family standard, we must recover it through religion. Until we find the family, we cannot find the clan, tribe, nation, or world. What is the ideal wish and hope of humankind? We can conclude the following. First of all, the greatest hope of humankind is to serve God as my Father. Second, it is to become the sons and daughters who can receive God's love. And third, it is to inherit everything God possesses. Humankind has no greater hopes. What has happened? It is the filling of orphans when they find their parents after 6,000 years. What can be the greatest happiness? Religion is to help find these parents. The parents you thought were dead for eternity are now able to live. If you find you have a means to discover if your parents are alive, you will not do anything else. Will you let your properties be an obstacle to finding your parents? Even if you had to put everything aside, you would invest all your sincerity in finding your parents. Isn't it so in this world also? Are there any children who feel happy hanging on to their land or money when their parents are dying? If the original parents, centered on the original relationship, can come to life again when you thought they were dead, then to pioneer that way, you need to have sincerity beyond what can be expressed in words. You have to show your loyalty in the position of feeling heartbreaking sorrow and regret for the sorrow of others. With this heart, You must prepare the way for your parents to come alive again. This is the way of a child living with filial piety. This is our responsibility. Therefore, we must not concern ourselves with this worldly things, but must pioneer this way. We must not concern ourselves with the joys of this world, nor its persecution. We must be able to go even the way of death. We must have a relationship of filial piety to pioneer this way. Okay, a few more minutes. We're now on page 343, number 2. The final goal of the providence of restoration. In what position will the unfallen Adam and Eve stand? They are the same as the substantial being of God. What family will be formed by Adam and Eve internally, becoming one with God, and externally becoming one with each other? This indeed is the God-centered family. And whose sons and daughters will those born in this family be? They indeed will be the sons and daughters of God. However, Satan took Eve and even made Adam fall. Satan committed the crime when Adam and Eve were only 16 years old. They were still in their teens. The time they yet did not know anything about love, nor what is good or bad. They came to form an unlawful love relationship, and where God was supposed to dwell, Satan came to occupy. God, therefore, lost his true son and daughter, to whom he wanted to give all his love. In terms of relationship between a man and a woman, we lost one couple centered on God. In terms of children, we lost the true parents. Through the act of the fall, we lost these three. Then, how can we indemnify all at once these three symptoms through the principle of restoration through indemnity and stand in the position which God can recognize? This is a problem. First of all, we must restore the standard based upon which God can love us as his true sons and daughters. Through this process, and when the time comes, a couple centered on God's love has to be formed. They must have children of goodness to form a four-position foundation which God desires, and from which God will be able to feel joy once again. Although we human beings were created from God, today we are unable to act as God's sons and daughters. First of all, God cannot love humankind as his sons and daughters. God cannot love us, and we cannot receive love as God's sons and daughters. Second, we are unable to have a holy ceremony as sons and daughters receiving God's love. And third, we cannot form a family centered on God's love. If humankind were able to realize these three, then we would not be as miserable as we are today. If these had been realized, the cultural benefits of today would have been realized much sooner. However, because humankind failed to do so, we have come the way of restoration, and we are struggling now to reform the culture and make some other kind of world. Therefore, we must search for a place where we can meet, a place where we can finally settle. The nation throughout the world, nations throughout the world must search for their original home country, and the many tribes must search for their original parents. This has been the whole process of God's providence. The goal of restoration is to restore Adam's family. God started his providence of salvation immediately after the fall of Adam and Eve. However, Cain killed Abel, and the process of salvation centering on Adam's family moved to Noah's family. Centering on Noah's family, God planned to destroy all the people through the flood judgment in order to set up a family which was free from Satan's condition of accusation and to form a foundation for the providence on earth. This was prolonged again to Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, to the age of Moses, to Jesus, and to our age today. Therefore, our final goal in this providence of restoration is to search for Adam's lost family. Now, we're on page 344, and it's this information that Father's giving us is quite long before we get to number 3 and a new subtopic, the providence of restoration centering on the family. So tomorrow we can begin, it's the second paragraph, Francis, and it starts for what has God been searching until today. It'll start there, because if I go, I'm going to have to keep going. And I got, huh? 344, for what has God been searching for until today. So are there any comments out there in cyberspace or spirit world, or what's happening, what's going on with that? Father was putting it down this morning. He was putting it down, letting everybody know what we're searching for. Any comments? Well, anyway, he was talking about Noah's family, and I was reading one of the Blessing Quarterly, and he says that the Father said the European people are descendants of Japheth, Noah's third son, and I thought that was quite interesting, you know. And he called them the water people. Anyway, I was thinking about that when I was reading about the flood. So I am so glad today that we live in a historical time, and will never come again. We've read that before, just earlier this week. It will never happen again. Never. And there's a whole wave of changes happening. And I thought yesterday, I said, about this thing with the marriage and stuff. I said, God did not intervene with the fall because he would have to give it value and create another principle added on to the ideal principle of creation. And it's not. And his love for Lucifer never changed, because God is unchanging, eternal, and absolute. But he loved Adam and Eve more. And Father often talks about, as Brother Francis was reading, how important that is, that God's Day, Parents' Day, Children's Day, all things. They all would have happened that same day that Adam and Eve was blessed if they had not fallen. Keep reading, you'll see that. You'll see that. But they had to be established one by one. restored, acknowledged, because they were separated. So, lost, they were lost. So this is a blessed time. And it's true, President Obama stated that everybody needs love. That is the truth. Everybody needs somebody to love. And God, His love never changed for us. And everything, as he was reading, everything God created, He created for the true parents. And we are to inherit the true parents' attributes, create our character, because they walked the line. They proved it can be done. So on that note, brothers and sisters, I'll continue my work around here, and I'll see you later. Have a good day. Thank you, True Parents.
Thank you. Yes, Nita or Reverend Nita. Anybody who wants to share or any inspirations or wise or otherwise? So our reading today is very powerful because we were searching for the true parents, and if we read this carefully, it says here on page 342, with this heart you must prepare the way for your parents to come alive again. This is the way of a child living with filial piety. This is our responsibility. Therefore, we must not concern ourselves with these worldly things, but must pioneer this way. We must not concern with the joys of this world, nor its persecution. So sometimes we feel persecuted, but we must be able to go on even the way of death. We must have a relationship of filial piety to pioneer this way. So a lot of us were sent pioneering, or make a foothold on any area, in any place, in any parts of the world, and there we meet a lot of people, and you'll encounter a lot of opposition. So of course we restore the things around it by doing these recreational activities. We get all our results and offer it to God, things. And in my center even, we go to any marketplace when there is a workshop. And of course we don't have so much money to pay for these things, but we claim them and use them for the workshop. We just ask them, these vendors, if they can share for anything for a church. And people, they will give something, because we don't have any even coins to give to them. And of course we have a van somewhere, waiting for all these brothers and sisters going around the marketplace, and we bring it, and we fill up the van, to overflowing, and yes, somebody wants to share? So we have also read today that originally all people possess the ideal of parents. Therefore, if God's day is determined, then Parents' Day will be determined at the same time, and then Children's Day and the Day of all things. However, because of the fall, as Sister Anita said, everything was lost. Therefore, in the process of restoration, what is the first thing which must be found? Man must be found first. You must understand that unless Parents' Day is determined, Children's Day cannot be determined. So, these are powerful words and the historical day of hope. Yeah, I like that words about, that we are like orphans waiting for the day of our true parents coming out, and that's the real happiness that the world should be longing for, meeting the parents. And we're so lucky to have met the true parents, and one of them is still here on this earth, and of course one of them is in heaven, in the spirit world, our true Father. Yes, the God of night, and then the God of day is here. So, anyone else wants to share about our readings today? So, if there is none, let's all rise and have unison prayer. Our most beloved Heavenly Parents, we're so thankful for these readings, for all our good ancestors from even the time of Abraham all the way back to Noah and to Adam and Eve. We pray that, of course, they are humans, and they are longing for your love and your mercy. We pray that in these days we pray for the harmony and peace and not only coexistence of all people, but the understanding of each group of people and races and nations and creeds. And we pray, our Heavenly Parents, that as children we had already proclaimed Children's Day, so that we have the true parents now. We pray that all these people who are doing atrocious things, killing other people, they will realize what their parents have sacrificed for them. And we pray that there's no other people who will know about their characteristics and all these things. We pray that their parents will come to the rescue to really understand these people who are wreaking havoc to all over the world, in Tunisia and in parts of the Middle East. We pray that all these people will come to realize that there's a world of peace and prosperity and coexistence and understanding. And we pray that all these people will be guided by all the good spirits, absolute good spirits. And we pray also that you release more of these absolute good spirits, our saints and sages who have done and served your Heavenly Parents, will be released to all these people who are needing all your love. And we pray that we can always be instruments always to bring peace and harmony to this world through our Heavenly Parents. We pray for the families who are connected here, and those families you have prepared for us, that they will be connected to the Unification Church, to our blessings, our Heavenly Parents. And we pray all of this in all our names and in my name, Athanasius Fracis C. Catala, blessed center of family. Adieu, adieu, adieu. Good morning to you, our true teachers, our true masters, and our true parents of heaven and earth and humankind. Good morning to the true children, the true grandchildren, and all our brothers and sisters. Good morning. Good morning, Reverend Oliver, Reverend Ezra, everyone. Have a great Sunday. Let's all be here on time at 10 a.m. today, and we can have also fellowship at 9:30. We'll try to be here and plan for the day. Have a great and wonderful day. See you.